Hello Cowboys Nation, welcome to another video, and without further ado, let's get to another round of news from America's team. Cowboys star George Pickens called NFL's best wide receiver. While there are still 10 regular season games left for Dallas Cowboys wide receiver George Pickens, not the most predictable person who ever lived, it's safe to say the results haven't been so far so good in his first season in Dallas. It's been more like so far, so great. Pickens has been one of the NFL's dominant wide receivers through the first 7 games and done so both on his own, with fellow star wide receiver CeeDee Lamb out with a high ankle sprain, and alongside Lamb, who returned to light up the Washington Commanders alongside Pickens in a convincing 44-22 win in Week 7. How good has Pickens been, exactly? So good it's impossible to not mention him among the NFL's very best wide receivers. He's currently 4th in the NFL in receiving with 36 receptions for 607 yards and 6 touchdowns. The Pittsburgh Steelers traded Pickens to the Cowboys along with a 2026 6th-round pick in exchange for a 2026 3rd-round pick and 2027 5th-round pick on March 7. If you did a poll of NFL cornerbacks right now, they'd rather try and cover Lamb instead of Pickens, ESPN analyst and former NFL quarterback Alex Smith said on Get Up on October 20th. Pickens seems like he has the best hands in NFL right now and is one of the best receivers in NFL right now. ESPN's Adam Schefter pointed out on the same broadcast that the Steelers have struggled to find downfield targets this season with the player they replaced Pickens with in DK Metcalf, who they traded with the Seattle Seahawks to get and signed to a 4-year, $132 million contract extension on March 9. Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin pretty much gave Pickens away, Schefter said. Pickens went to Dallas and accepted the challenge ahead of him. If he can keep doing this and keep becoming the weapon he's becoming, the money he can get is bonkers. Pickens is in the final year of the 4-year, $6.75 million rookie contract he signed after he was drafted in the 2nd round, number 52 overall, out of Georgia in the 2022 NFL Draft. Metcalf's contract is actually a good template for what Pickens might get paid. If the season were to end today, he would undoubtedly have an asking price upwards of $30 million per year. Cowboys to look at everything as NFL trade deadline approaches. The 2025 Cowboys have been, at the very least, a wild ride. Even before the season, there was a coaching change and one of the biggest trades in the history of the franchise, or, perhaps, even the history of the NFL. There have been dramatic wins, and a dramatic tie, fueled by an eye-popping offense and a defense that has struggled to sort itself out. The Cowboys have been a juggernaut and a jalopy, sometimes in the same game. But they've shown enough here in the early stages of the season, in a watered-down NFC, to give some hope to the team's fans. The question is whether they've given enough hope to owner Jerry Jones and the front office staff, mostly his son Stephen Jones and personnel president Will McClay, to warrant an aggressive posture when the NFL's trade deadline comes around in 2 weeks. The Cowboys have 2 added first-round picks coming in from the Packers from the Micah Parsons trade, which will give them added flexibility at the deadline, even if they don't deal those picks. And with a defense that ranks last in yardage allowed this season, there certainly are needs. Coach Brian Schottenheimer was asked on Monday whether the Week 7 win over the Commanders, an impressive 44-22 effort, will affect the calculus at the deadline. The Cowboys have some momentum, but they still have, according to PlayoffStatUs.com, only a 30% chance of earning a postseason spot. But they have quarterback Dak Prescott, seemingly at the height of his powers with 2 star receivers, CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, on hand. The door is open to a move. We'll always look at everything. You know that. Jerry, Stephen and Will, they're always open for business, he said. This time of year, you kinda let those guys focus on it because we're so busy game planning and all that stuff, but I am very pleased with the way the guys played yesterday. Not pleased with the consistency that we performed with, but overall it was a very good game. While Schottenheimer could use more help, the team does have more injured players making a return to practice this week, and the coach pointed out that there is still a long way to go for Dallas. He even leaned on advice from a wise old coach, his father, veteran coach Marty Schottenheimer. "Overall, I feel like, hopefully, we are finding our stride," Schottenheimer said. "No one cares where we are today, that doesn't matter. What matters is where we are in January. I talked to the team about two things. One is fundamentals. A wise old coach with bobble glasses used to talk about, you have to focus on fundamentals more in late October, November, December because most teams don't. So I talked to those guys about that." Cowboys have reached out to Raiders about bombshell trade. The Las Vegas Raiders are heading in the wrong direction, and it's clear that they are far away from being contenders. Many believe that this will lead to the franchise embracing a total rebuild. If that's the case, that means some key veterans could be available ahead of the NFL's trade deadline. The Raiders' most valuable asset is star pass rusher Maxx Crosby. He's been the team's best player for years, but hasn't been shy about his frustration with their losing ways. The Dallas Cowboys have been one of the surprises of the NFL this season. Many thought they'd be among the league's worst teams after they hired Brian Schottenheimer as head coach and traded away star pass rusher Micah Parsons. However, the team is 3-3-1 and has the number 1 offense in the NFL right now. The problem facing them is that their defense is among the worst in the league. Now that it's clear that the Cowboys' offense is good enough to compete in the playoffs, they may be re-evaluating whether or not they want to go all in this season. According to longtime NFL analyst Trey Wingo, the Cowboys have reached out to the Raiders about possibly trading for Crosby. The Cowboys traded Parsons to the Green Bay Packers for 2 first-round picks and defensive tackle Kenny Clark. Some would argue that Crosby is a better overall player than Parsons due to how he affects the run game, but he's slightly older. Regardless, the Raiders are going to want a similar haul to what the Cowboys got. Plus, Dallas wouldn't have to give Crosby a new contract. The baseline for a trade has to be 2 first-round picks. Crosby is 28 years old, a team leader and a relentless worker. He might be the best run-defending defensive end in the NFL, while also being an elite pass rusher. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones cited run defense as a reason they traded Parsons away, but that wouldn't be a problem for Crosby. However, it's possible that the Raiders could ask for even more than what Dallas got for Parsons.